So some great stuff, and obviously we're people of action. We're people who desire great healing. And so throughout the last couple months, a group has been meeting, and we've come up with 4 possible ways to move forward. They're not the only ways. You may have lots of things on your mind right now that you want to do, and we want to encourage all of that in a really robust sharing. That what we started today, we want it to begin, or to move forward, not to simply be a training, but rather to begin for us to perhaps begin to ask, what has happened to you, as opposed to why do you do that, in all the different sectors of our city. This is an amazing group of people. We don't oftentimes come together, the folks in this room who are represented. I have not been in a meeting where there's been such great cross-representation. And so it gives me great hope for our future, to connect our passion and our desires about Camden together. So I just want to draw your attention to the 4 things here. We've designed, over the next couple months, ways to practically respond. If you want more training in what you've heard today, Joe Fodoraro, right here, who's been here, has designed 5 trainings that will happen. They're 2-hour-long trainings. They're called the Trauma Triangle. They will focus on things like reenactment, vicarious trauma, triggers, and something called the Trauma Triangle, where we explore the roles that people take up as victim, rescuer, and persecutor that are often common in trauma. There are 5 2-hour sessions that will happen over lunch. They do cost money. Each of the sessions cost $50 a piece, and they're only open to 30 people. We will actually advertise them tomorrow. If you're interested, you can sign up. The first 30 people who sign up will be the ones who are able to take advantage of that. It's a practical training. It's meant to actually take what we learned here and go deeper with it. So if you like that, that would be something that is possible. In September, the idea has been, and I know that this was the solicitation when we first began this, a number of you offered to bring your expertise together, to offer some of the things that you do. So there is a group that's desiring to meet and reconvene in a different fashion in September with some different resources. There may be some funding that we'll get to do that, so we could bring in some speakers for that. It all depends on if things happen. September's a very short time off, but there are some things in the works. If you would be interested in helping bring about another group like this with some other resources around sanctuary and trauma, then this would be something that you could do. Again, we will actually have an email that goes out. If you're interested in doing this, you can say you're interested, and then you'll be contacted, and then you can be off and running with that. The third thing is actually a rather challenging, innovative, great thing. As you know, I'm executive director of Hopeworks, and so Hopeworks has actually begun a 2-year process to become sanctuary certified. So we're going through the sanctuary process is a 2 to 3 year process by which organizations actually go through a culture change. And so it begins with a 5-day training for people in your organization that then go back into the organization and help bring about this kind of radical, different way of thinking in all aspects of what you do and how you do it. We began this in the fall, and so we're off and kind of running. But the idea has been, what would it be like if 10 organizations were to decide together to form a coalition where each of their organizations would become sanctuary certified together, so that we could see this as an incisive prevention and intervention strategy for our city. That's a very powerful thing. We're only 75,000 people. If 10 organizations got together and actually decided to do this, we'd have to obviously find resources. I told Rob Andrews we needed $700,000. He said, no problem. I don't have him on video though. But in a sense, imagine if we did that. Imagine if we decided to do that. 10 organizations. It's a huge commitment for an organization. But imagine if we did that. So instead, Sanctuary normally was started in a residential program. It was started in some sort of a situation where there are people, right? Like a jail, a confined place, right? So being in a social service situation is new for Sanctuary. It's radically new to propose that organizations actually do it together as a strategy of intervention in their city. We're a small enough city where we actually could make a tremendous impact rather quickly. Or we could see what we would do. If we began to shift our conversations from why crime, why drugs, why this, why that, why dropouts, to what happened to you? What happened to our city that up to 70% of our youth drop out? What happened to our city that up to 50% are poor? What happened? What happened? If we began to function that way, I wonder what would happen. That's the vision. So there'll be an opportunity. If you're interested in being a part of that, you can sign up for that if you want. The fourth thing is an interesting thing. It's something that a town in Florida has done. There's a whole town in Florida, Tarpon Springs, right? Tarpon Springs, that actually has made the commitment to become a trauma-informed care town. They run their town based on the strategy around this, and you can read all about that online. There's also a town in Walla Walla, Washington doing a lot like that. But one of the things that they did, just to point to the future, was, does everyone know kind of like the Tibetan flags? Has anyone seen that? They hang up a lot of flags, and it's a very religious, a prayerful thing to them. Well, the folks in Tarpon Springs did the same thing. They asked hotels around town to give them their old sheets. Apparently hotels get rid of their sheets quite often. They tore them up, and then they had people decorate them, and they hung them up around their town. They picked a day of healing. So one of the ideas that has come up, and some people were really interested in this, was what if we picked a day sometime, I don't know, in the summer, when we all, in a sense, created flags, our organization created flags, and just hung them up around town. It's a very practical body thing, right? It's a thing that engages our body, our hands, our creativity. It allows us to be artistic. Everybody can participate. We could put them all over the place, right? So it's an idea to point to hope, to point to healing, to point to our future. So that's another idea. All these are just ideas. There's the group that's been meeting. There's different people who've expressed interest. But again, we're going to put these out there and see what happens. There's also an online group that has been meeting and talks a lot online. If you want to be a part of that, you're more than welcome to do that too. We'll add you in. We just need your email, and then you just need to come into the group. There's been a lot of energy, obviously, that's gone into this thinking, but into today. It's been a really good day, and I just want to thank everyone for coming together and who helped make it possible. It gives me great hope that we have come together and that we see what's possible. Because every one of us in this room sees the damage that has been done to people and to ourselves, or feels lots of time the trauma impact in our own lives as we work. And we need each other more than ever. We need each other. So these are the 4 things that we have. All the information you saw today will be online. Sandy's talks were all videoed, and we'll have those up online in a couple days. So, just check out the Facebook page or CamdenTrauma.org. All the stuff will be there. We do have just a couple minutes left, and I just wanted to let Sandy come back, and if anyone wanted to talk with her or have any questions, we do just have a couple minutes.